Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Sevens. This one, Kenya versus Great Britain to determine who will be finishing 7th in the starting lineup for the Kenyans. It is Kevin Wakesa, Azati the captain, Amaitsa Abukusi Mboya, who did make his way off the bench in the last game. Then also Angeo, that is George Oro Angeo, who has been phenomenal for Kenya throughout the Sevens competition. And then Patrick Adongo Okongo, man who almost helped them get over the line in their last match. In terms of this GB side, it is Harry Glover, Callum Carson, Jardine, who got himself a try in the last match, Ryan Apps, Morgan Williams, Matt Davison, and also Marcus Kershaw, the last man in the side. But like I said, this game is to play off for 7th. Whoever wins this game will get themselves that 7th ranking. The next game that is taking place is between Argentina and New Zealand. That is to determine 5th. And then as we make our way towards the final, we see the bronze and then also that final between South Africa and France. But currently Canada are playing the Japanese. There is only 20 seconds or so remaining in that matchup. In fact, I think that game is coming to a close now after the TMO is involved. But do let me know who you think will win this game, whether or not Kenya can get themselves a much better ranking than they finished last week, where they did finish 10th, of course, with a shorter format. It really opens up the opportunity for them to be able to thrive and get that high ranking. But Naz has said go Kenya in the chat, and the Kenyans overall have been pretty strong throughout this competition. They managed to pull themselves a massive victory over the Australians off in round number 1. South Africa last week, they were able to beat them. They've also had some extremely close fixtures with the top sides. We saw them almost beat Argentina up until that second half where the Argentines just got full momentum. Kenya's discipline is going to be important in this match as well. But we are only a minute away from the start of this contest. They are running a little bit later, which does mean that that next game taking place between New Zealand and Argentina may be slightly delayed. But as we get closer to the playoff games, there shouldn't be any troubles at all. There's also a game of rugby union going on at the moment, I should mention. Bordeaux taking on Leicester. Seems like a high-scoring one. We were keeping an eye on that during the little break. Bordeaux currently leading in that one. Now, they came in as the favourites for that match, and a few of the favourites in the Sevens have already lost, which is why this game is a pretty unpredictable one. Kenya, they bring the passion to the world of Sevens. Team GB, we've seen it there up against the Fijians. They almost pulled off that victory. They can beat top sides if they find their rhythm. But this is a tough Kenyan team they have taken to the field. But I do think Anthony Mboya is going to be one to watch out for out there on the field. I just seeing Kenya in the team huddle. GB, captained by Harry Glover. Side that can beat most sides, but then every once in a while just don't quite perform the way that people expect, but they've got pace out wide. Referee, 8th match for him on the series, so not too many at all. I believe only Dubai last week, and then now, of course, getting to take part in this comp, although maybe even all just from this comp, actually. 8 matches may be doable throughout the last 2 days, but nonetheless, we are underway. I should mention the scoreboard today has decided to be extremely swift, so half the time it is actually saying what the score is before it has happened, but the Kenyans managing to retain their kickoff, going off to the left-hand side here. Chance for Kenya, the first attack of the day, and already we are seeing some pace being shown by George Oro, who stays in the field of play and scores the first try of the match for Kenya. Brilliant start, 17 seconds in, and the Kenyans are already on the scoreboard. About as best of a start as they could have had right there for Kenya, managing to get it out wide, and George Oro just going round the outside. Tackle attempt to Ryan Apps. Had no chance to drag him down in the end. Great bit of work from the Kenyans. The conversion is also going to be good here. They will now give themselves a very handy lead. 7 points to nil after 1 minute. So the longest part of that was actually getting the kick over. Try itself only took around 15 seconds, but Omundi getting ready to kick this one off again. Nicely taken by Team GB. Kenya, they are known for being able to tie up a player and call it as a maul. Okay, because they have played it, I believe this will become Kenya's ball at scrum time. Yes, it does. Some great work there. About 3 or 4 Kenyan players all jumping into that breakdown to tie it up. Looking to get themselves a quick burst of pace early on. Morgan Williams does not want to give up the ball. I think he's just having a discussion with the ref. He's asking, yeah, he's still not giving them the ball. Okay, now he's giving it up. Azati has got it in his hands, the Kenyan skipper. They were trying to say that it wasn't yet a maul, but then as soon as the second Great Britain player engaged, that then makes it a maul. Tried to drag it to ground, which eventually it did. And the turnover goes the way of Kenya. Scrum feed now, putting the ball in. Looking off to this left-hand side. They will look to shift it as wide as possible. Kenya charging forward, looking for the gap, going straight through there, looking for the offload, and he gets it away to Okongo, and he will score yet again another try. It's 6 tries now throughout 2024-25 season, 3 in Cape Town for that man. And Kenya once again just showing exactly how dangerous they can be, getting the beautiful offload over the top. They weren't expecting it. And already they are up 12-0 up against this GB team that haven't really found their feet in the first few minutes. They just haven't been able to stop Kenya from charging forward. Now chance for the conversion, and it will hang out to the right-hand side, so unsuccessful in that venture. 12-0 to Kenya, though, after the first 3 minutes of this match. Now high kick-off straight into the sun, knocked on by Great Britain and Mondi. Have that one now, the advantage is over. Going away to the left-hand side, quick hands from Kenya, do work out quite nicely. George Ooro going off to the side. How the heck did Kenya become so good lately? Honestly, they've been good for a while, but the sad reality was they got demoted off the 7th circuit when they went from having 16 teams to 12. But, like, anytime Kenya have played, even before the stage of demotion, like, they still have the occasional game where they're strong. I mean, they beat South Africa last week. They beat Australia this week as well. That's a wide cut-out pass that was close to being 4, but now Okongo breaks through and he will get the 3rd try of the match for Kenya. But they've come into the 7th circuit, just like they are very annoyed that they got demoted. But now that they're back, they're making sure everyone knows that they're on the scene. And they're a little bit similar to Spain in some regards. The scoreboard is much faster than the players, says Herman Smith. It is. It's been extremely quick today compared to every other live stream we've done over not just the weekend, but also just in general. For some reason, the scoreboard's actually, I guess it's working as it should, but yeah, it's just very speedy. I'll try and fix it in between the next live stream, or, well, we've got another one straight after this, but in between those two, I'll try and fix it by just turning off my PC and seeing if I turn it back on, maybe it will glitch again. Crikey, not expecting this, says Graham. Yeah, at the moment, sitting at 17 points to 0 for this Kenyan team. GB have the possession just out from their own line, locking over the ball. Azati wins the penalty, looks for the quick tap, and does go for it. Only 2 metres out, and he goes over 22-0. Now for the Kenyans, they have got 4 tries in 5 minutes. This is domination at the moment over GB. And the Kenyans in the stands are absolutely loving it. As Amish starts to explain something for me, an ad pops up. Says Bruce. Yeah, great run forward from Azati. The Kenyan captain goes through the gap. If they had played like this up against Argentina, I mean, to be fair though, they did for a start. They got 2 tries right off the bat, but it was what happened after that. They weren't really able to continue that momentum, but now GB just haven't touched the ball. And when they do, they give it up the very next phase. Now trying to kick it off. Going to be nicely taken there by GB. Now back across to the right-hand side here. Great Britain for their first. Oh, they've lost the ball again. They're almost giving it away for Kenya, but they managed to hang on to it. Harry Glover now going through. And nice step coming. Little offload out the back door. Up to Carson. Now another offload. They're having to work hard to find a gap, but here comes the pace of Team GB. And it will be the try. Jardine gets it. And GB a little bit closer back into the game. A team with 3 countries in it can't beat Kenya. Shows how bad GB are, says James. Although I think we also do need to give a lot of credit to this Kenyan side and the way that they've been able to play. We've got to remember these two sides both playing off for 7th, but last week I believe GB did finish a little bit higher. In fact, I think they were in the quarterfinals, if I'm not wrong, up against the Spanish, who have been beating pretty much everyone as of late, but they weren't able to get over the line up against South Africa in that semi-final. And now the Kenyans are just showing off. You can remember Kenya upsetting New Zealand and Wellington Sevens back in the days. I say they always had it. This doesn't look too good. Looks like an injury for Odongo Okongo. Hopefully nothing too serious here. He's already had 3 tries throughout the tournament, 9 tries in general. The last thing that they want is to have him not there for the next leg. Now, for anyone wondering when that is taking place, the next leg of the 7th Circuit, it is going to be in Perth, and that is going to be, I believe, if I am correct, I'm just going to quickly clarify, late January, 24th to 26th of January is when that one will be taking place. Kenya have been brilliant throughout the start of this match, just being able to score try after try, but now Great Britain trying to get back into this contest. Ball's going to be lost forward. Kenya managing to pick it up. Currently we are in overtime. Looks like Kenya will just put it into touch, and they will claim the halftime score of 22 points to 5. And what has been an absolute dream start to this contest for the Kenyans. They are certainly looking good for getting that 7th place finish. So we give GB 8, which is actually the same as what they had last week. Kenya finished 10th, so they have really boosted themselves up quite nicely. So far, 2 tries for Odongo Okongo, 1 for George Oro Angeo, 1 also for the captain Azati, just the 1 try, Sonny Jardine for Team GB. 4 tries to the 1. Missed tackles, we've seen 4 so far for GB, so they have a tackle completion of 50%, which I do not think is high enough, definitely because each time that there has been a broken tackle, Kenya have pretty much been able to score the try. The next game that is taking place, it is Argentina versus New Zealand, and that one is going to be starting in the relatively near future. I'll just quickly check the exact time. I believe that one's supposed to be starting at around 3:50. So hopefully the schedule, we are slowly catching back up. But still a few more matches to go. We have still got 2 after that Argentina-New Zealand match that we are doing on the channel. That will be the bronze final as well as the final as well. The team huddle. A little bit of don't stop believing playing around the ground. I don't know whether or not that's more for Kenya or whether that's more for Great Britain, who find themselves down by 17 points heading into the second half. A little bit of sun on the field in Cape Town, which means anytime you're kicking off from right to left, you can use that sun to your advantage and get it straight up there. And an extremely difficult catch. A lot of green and gold in the stands. They are getting ready for the final. Harry McNulty in the middle of the South African fans there. And that one's going to be kicked off. Just goes the 10 metres. Oh, referee says... What does the referee say? Knock on there against Kenya, or is that it hasn't gone the 10? Looks like it is going to be a knock on against Kenya in this case. So the scrum feed does go the way of Great Britain. Kenya had a good lead up against Argentina, then just let it slip through their fingers as the time wore on. It's the last thing that they want here up against GB. They did stay close with Fiji, Great Britain, one of their earlier games. Big fend coming in there, almost bet New Zealand as well, I believe. That's going to be a quick tap and go now. Sitting 22 metres out from the line, they know that they have to up the intensity if they want to get themselves the win here. Team Kenya, says Baraka. Now passed out wide. Chance to run towards the corner. Odongo gets rid of him though. Oh, they're going right back for the original penalty advantage. That one would have been very close to being over, I would think. For not rolling away, 6 minutes remaining on the clock. And time is off because they can't find a ball. Referee's still looking for one. I'm sure there will be one somewhere around a stadium. Saw a man in the background. He was ready to throw it off the restart. 40% of the tries has come for GB in this competition. And it looks like a scrum is the option that they have chosen. Great Britain, they can go either way here, right or left. Whichever way they go, they have to commit to it. Go full steam ahead towards the corner. The problem with that, though, is you do sacrifice the chance of a 2. And when you're down by the 17 points, I think that the 2s could be just as important as getting those tries. But the feed is in for Jardine now, going off to the right-hand side. Nice step on the inside, beautifully done. And that will be the try between the posts. A nice haircut, champ, says Juan Pierre Bosch. We did end up getting it, I think probably about 10 days ago, somewhere around there. It was just before we ended up going away on holiday. I thought I'd better get one just because it was a bit scruffy. That one has gone over as well. So now the score, 22 points to 12. Comeback started for Team GB. And Kershaw, the man who scored that one. No, sorry, it was Matt Davison. My apologies. Now it's going to be kicked off high again by Great Britain, looking straight into the sun for the Kenyans, but they've done brilliantly to take it down. The captain Azati, pressure in the breakdown from Team GB, and they've managed to take it back. No, they say that it wasn't allowed. So the penalty goes the way of Kenya now. Almost sneaking that one, Morgan Williams, and GB not so great. Says win there. And don't let the colonisers back in Kenya, says Nas. And also we have their tough weekend for the Bulls and the Stormers, says Irwin. Yeah, it just wasn't quite their best performances, unfortunately. Like, the Bulls looked way below average up against Saracens, and Saracens just used that wind to their advantage massively in the second half. Stormers, they never really found their rhythm. Up against Toulon, that's a massive mistake. At line-out time, GB giving the ball straight back to Kenya. Kevin Waikesa taking the big shot there. Now back across to the left-hand side here. Azati, ball on the inside. Almost a little bit of a high tackle coming in from Charlton Kerr. Counter ruck unsuccessful, which now takes 2 GB players out of the equation. Grub it in behind. And the bounce of the ball is good. And it's another try for the Kenyans. This time it is Nigel Peterson. A mate say he shushes the crowd, even though I think the only ones cheering in the crowd are actually the Kenyan supporters here. The crowd are dancing as well. Every time Kenya score, there is a section of this Cape Town stadium that does do the 4-turn rotation. Dirty French clubs. Says when? Like for Toulon, I assume that is. Is that because a few of the Stormers players got injured? I assume is what you're referring to. And we have got their Kiplin down to the final. I'm not sure what that first word is. In general, says when. I don't think they're too bad. Like, certain players, of course. I mean, we saw South African sides just from the 3 games. They ended up with 7 cards. That's a great run down the wing from GB. So I think, like, ill discipline has become more and more prominent in games where there's a little bit of passion, which is a sad sight to see because, you know, in the old school days, you used to be able to, you know, have those rivalries out there on the field without anyone getting sent off. Nowadays, everyone's just doing it and just doing stupid things that get them sent off the field. And then you just lose the momentum of that rivalry between different players. Predictions for France versus Blitzbox. I think the score will be realistic, 26 points to 12. Says Irvin, I think I went 21-19 on my preview for that match. Tough weekend for the Bulls and the Stormers. Now 2 minutes remaining, score sitting 27 points to 17. The chance of a comeback might be on, and I think there is going to be countdown to the final. I've got it now, yep. Yeah, we're very close. Only about 2.5 hours away, somewhere around there before the final does take place. Until then, we've got 3 more live streams. Well, in fact, it will be the 3rd. But now Great Britain. They've got possession again here. One last try for Kenya would secure the deal. But if Great Britain can score now, they can actually still win this game. With the amount of time that is remaining. 90 seconds, although Kenya tying him up. And they'll just hold him here. Oh, in fact, I've been able to rip the ball off him. Now going short side, kicked him behind, and it's kicked out on the full. So it goes right back to where it was kicked from. Amaitsa just having a little bit of that type of face. And by the way, no drop goal has been attempted in the history of sevens. Says Irvin. I don't think that's true. I think we saw a drop goal last year in the Sevens circuit, if I'm correct. I think it was Argentina who went for it. Is there the last game for the Blitz, or is this the last game for the Blitz tonight, says Soraya? So that 1 and 2.5 hours time is, seeing as in this Cape Town Sevens competition format, there are a lot less games. You only play 4 in total rather than the 6. So yeah, just the final left. And last game period, says Wemma. Well, at least, yeah, last game for the competition. Yeah, until they go to Perth for January. And hi, Hamish, why are the Kenyans so strong? I think that they've just come out with a point to prove. They got demoted last year and then promoted at the end of the season, and they want to show people that they shouldn't have been kicked off the Sevens circuit in the first place, which I 100% agree with, because I think the competition with 16 teams was fine. They didn't really need to change it. And now they are trying to really make a statement here, going straight through the gap, offload on the inside, and that will be the try for Amaitsa. A little bit of push and shove, and he's now once again doing the shushing. I'm not too sure who he is shushing. Once again, the Kenyans are celebrating in the stands. And we have got their countdown to the final, and then party time, says when. It just steps through, offloads across on the inside. I think the person who the commentator said said it was never attempted. Like, did they say it for this game? Because that seems like a really strange game to say it for when there's, like, not the closeness of needing a drop kick at the end. So maybe it was some other random close game, possibly. So who do you think is going to win tonight? Says Soraya. Well, my prediction was 21 points to 19 in favour of the South Africans, but I'm often wrong, so we might get it wrong. We have got the I think, says Gus. Nonetheless, I said that twice. I will transfer over to that next live stream taking place between Argentina and New Zealand, as it is happening right now. So I will see you all for the next one.